Hey guys! This is us before watching Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Here we are at the advanced screening. Let's see how it goes.
2 hours later.
This is us after watching Cuckoo. Cuckoo. That hit. That hit. That hit.
Hunter?
She's a scream queen.
Call me.
What's up, y'all? This is Pree's Perspective with me, Preetha. So, last Wednesday, I happened to have a chance to catch an advanced screening of Cuckoo, produced by Neon. It stars Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, and Jessica Henwick in the lead. And not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun, and I can safely say after watching this film that 2024 belongs to Neon. I mean, they have been producing banger after banger after banger, and they have a really exciting lineup in the next few months as well. I mean, they started off with Immaculate, then they did Long Legs. If you haven't watched those films yet, go check them out right now. Run, don't walk, run to your streaming service to watch Immaculate, and run to the theater to watch Long Legs. It's still playing, mind you. And now we've got Cuckoo. And we also got these really cool So these basically contain like Polaroids, various stills from the movie, and it's also got some shots by Hunter Schafer herself. So it kind of gives you a sense of what went behind the scenes of directing this film. It's directed by Tilman Singer, and I would have to say this is one of the most unhinged and deranged movies produced by Neon so far. I mean, I would have to rank it as Long Legs, then Cuckoo, and then like Immaculate in terms of the movies they have produced so far. Okay, let's get into it. So the movie follows Gretchen, who is a 17-year-old teenager who, after the death of her mother, has to move with her family, that is her dad and her stepmother, to somewhere around like northern Scandinavia / northern Germany, I'm gonna say. And they meet the really charming pair König. Please ignore my horrible German pronunciation. I don't know how to pronounce that. I mean, even though I've still seen the movie, so please excuse me. So Mark König, who's played by Dan Stevens, and what follows next is this very bizarre set of events that kind of give you the sense that things are not exactly as they seem. Okay, let's talk about why I liked this movie so much. And probably I'm gonna start with one of its biggest merits and its biggest demerits, that is the pacing. Singer adopts this very slow pacing in terms of kind of reeling us into the world and getting us involved with the stakes at hand. So every scene that happens, you're like, oh, okay, what's going on? How is this kind of related to the plot? And by the time you reach the climax, you're like, oh, so that's why. And then you're able to like slowly and slowly like kind of connect the dots, and then the climax happens and your mind is blown away. So yeah, in that way, I call it its biggest merit, but at the same time, I feel like it can be its biggest demerit too. Because, not gonna lie, for the first 30 minutes, I did have a bit of a hard time finding my bearings with the movie, because a lot of things were going on, and I felt like some of the scenes were kind of very incoherently placed, at least for the first 30 minutes. And then by the time like the climax happened, lucky for me, I kind of got a sense of why was it exactly done. And then I was like, oh, okay, so that's why they were kind of like making those connections or allusions to the cuckoo bird, or like how trauma is, how maternal trauma is kind of connected to this film or the movie's plot. So I'm gonna have to say that for some viewers, I'm adding a discretion. There might be a second viewing for you guys to kind of exactly understand what actually happened, and for you to fully understand how the plot lines are kind of connected with each other. But other than that, I feel like Singer did a really good job in reeling us into the world and presenting us this very interesting character study of all the three characters. That is Gretchen, who is the teenager played by Schafer, her Kearney by Stevens, and the younger sister Alma, who is sort of caught in the stakes at hand. And speaking of, I want to give a shout out to the performances of this movie, because had they not performed this way, I don't think the film would have worked at all. Like, seriously. First, huge shout out to our girl, Hunter Schafer. I really loved her performance. I really liked how she balanced out that trauma with showing herself to, heal, and while at the same time adapting to her new family. And then when the climax comes in, on when moments of horror happen, she is a total badass. I'm gonna give a little bit of a spoiler, so spoiler alert. She wields this butterfly knife, and holy moly, the way she kind of wields it towards the end, it totally makes her look like a badass. She's ready to kind of get into the horror/action genre. Directors, you have your next lead. I mean, she has totally become the next Scream Queen. So, step aside, Sydney Sweeney, step aside, Mia Goth. You got competition. And I also want to give a shout out to Dan Stevens. I mean, who would have thought this is the same guy who played Beast in the live action version of Beauty and the Beast? And here, Mark Kearney, he kind of channelizes this very unhinged and very creepy energy. And whenever he's on scene, you're like, oh my god, something bad's about to happen. That's the level of unhingedness you get from him. There are moments where he plays a flute. Again, spoiler alert. Yeah, so there are a couple of moments where he plays the flute in order to give a signal or something. And even those moments are like, oh, why are you doing that? And they literally give you goosebumps. And I also want to give a shout out to the performer / the actor. I don't know exactly who she is, but the performer who plays the hooded woman, I felt like she did an amazing job in kind of channelizing those movements, which kind of give us the creeps. And the way she kind of contorts herself in positions where you are literally like, okay, what? And there are moments where she just shines in the movie, and I have to give props to her. And also the actress who plays the younger sister, Alma. So the way she gets caught in the stakes at hand, and the way she kind of balances out her too, kind of getting used to a new member of the family, and at the same time getting caught at the stakes at hand and fighting off the bad guys in the movie. Her and Schafer scenes are something which you definitely look out for. They are some of the most endearing scenes in the movie. I'll talk about the technicality of this film because I feel like Cuckoo, through its Cuckoo could not have lived up to its level of unhingedness without the technicality of this film. I feel like besides the performances, the technical aspects such as the screenplay, the cinematography, I feel like they also kind of carry out the assignment of making this film so deranged, you know? And I also have to give credits to the action choreography towards the climax of the movie. It's very simple. It's very like plain Jane Mary Jane, but it keeps you engaged. It keeps you at the edge of the seat. It keeps you like wanting to know what happens next, right? But yeah, let me just roll back a little and go back to the screenplay, because like I said, it's kind of connected to the pacing of the movie. And as I mentioned before, the pacing is its biggest merit as well as its demerit. So for me, I really liked the moments where there was like really dry humor used to kind of relieve the situation and as well as kind of accentuate what exactly was going on. For example, one scene I really liked was, and I could totally relate to, was when Gretchen asks her Cunning, like, why the hell am I here? Why is my family here? And her Cunning just calmly just plays the flute and then just says, you're here because you belong here. Your family belongs here. And to that, Hunter Schafer replies,
That's a fucking weird way to put it.
and my entire theater just burst out laughing. I feel like that was the most hilarious scene in the movie. And yet again, when it came to like directing some of the jump scares, I'll have to admit it kind of felt a little distracting because it didn't exactly give us the shock value that we were expecting. I mean, I know for a fact that I was still sitting like going, oh my god, something bad is about to happen. But when the jump scare actually hit, it didn't exactly feel like, oh, I should be scared at this moment. And that kind of dulled out the pacing for me, and that kind of distracted me from like, finding my bearings and getting to know what's exactly going on, But yet again, I feel like the screenplay also helps in kind of elevating when it is necessary, and pair that with this amazing cinematography by Paul Fratz. I hope I'm saying that right. You get these beautiful landscapes of the Alps. You get a really good view of the resort, and suddenly you are transported into this very distorted / kind of eerie setting. So that entire beauty that you see, it kind of feels really relaxing, but at the same time, when you look at it for a really, really prolonged time, you're like, okay, something doesn't seem right. It leaves you feeling really unsettled, And I also feel like the cinematography did a good job in kind of accentuating that unsettledness that I was talking about, and at the same time bringing out moments of trauma. And I also have to pair the cinematography up with the sound. I feel like the sound was also a really crucial aspect in bringing out the themes of the movie. Primarily, music plays a really important role in determining and kind of exposing what Gretchen's character is like. And it also kind of like establishes that theme of maternal trauma that you get when you lose your mom. And it also kind of helped establish the dynamic between Gretchen and her younger sister. And at the same time, it also helped like accentuate the horror moments when the hooded woman comes in, and then and then when the revelation slowly and steadily happens, the sound accentuates it even more, and it leaves you feeling like, oh no, we are in trouble right now. I wanna get out. So yeah, that's what I honestly felt about Cuckoo. I'm gonna give the movie 4.5 stars, barring like some of the places where I felt like the screenplay could have been a little tighter, the pacing could have been a little, condensed, and I wish I wasn't exactly, distracted for the first few minutes, and I wish I'd like said that I could find my bearings instantly. But yeah, barring that, I feel like Cuckoo is a really engaging, really what do I call this? It was freaking insane. It was a really insane experience watching it at a theater. And yeah, that's honestly what I felt. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at mukherjeeprita01. Also, follow me on Letterboxd at that filmy chick. I know some of you have said that there has been a slight issue finding my account, but don't worry, all issues have been fixed now. It's that filmy chick for more such reviews. This is Pri's Perspective signing off. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do the whole shebang. Bye.